What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. We are ending the week with some interesting news as well as some pretty good fight announcements that just dropped. So we'll be going over those as well. But main thing that is obviously very big news right now in the UFC community and has been for months at this point is the topic of Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. I've talked about it a couple times on the channel of getting, fed up with Jon Jones acting like he doesn't owe anything to anyone and keeping everyone stringed along for, Tom's been waiting for this fight for well over a year now. We're midway through 2025 and we have been told many, many times by Dana that this fight is still happening. And then you got Jon Jones, going on interviews and saying, I'm not sure and I might retire. I don't know. I've got a lot of different avenues outside of fighting. And so there's been a lot of contradiction between what the UFC is saying and what we're getting from Jon Jones. And obviously Tom Aspinall has gotten very frustrated and has expressed his frustration, rightfully so. It's a fucking insane situation that we find ourselves in. And so insane that we are looking at a fan base that is attempting to take this into their own hands. I don't know if we have seen in any sport, let alone the UFC, I can say, where there has been this petition has been up for 2 days and it's got 160,000 signatures. Take a second and think about how hard it is to get 160,000 of anyone to sign a petition like this. And then you're saying that you've almost got, we'll call it, because I'm sure by the end of the day today, as you can see down here, that people are still signing very frequently. So we're going to call it probably 200,000 by the end of the day or the end of the weekend. So you're going to have 200,000 MMA fans, UFC fans, that are so fed up that they took time out of their day to follow the link to this change.org page, to sign the petition, to put their email address in. Not saying that that's a lot of steps, but people are lazy as shit, especially with things that they feel that, their voice won't be heard, and why would I do this if nothing's going to change? People obviously feel very strongly about this if they're taking time to actually go through and sign this petition. Now, is this petition going to fall on deaf ears? Fucking probably. I highly doubt that Dana White gives one single fuck about what the fan base wants. If he did, he would be doing a lot of things differently. It is no secret that the UFC is in a really bad spot right now. Really bad. There's been, some popular YouTubers that have really, really expressed their frustration, rightfully so, especially concerning the promotion of fights, have been very, very lackluster lately. And then, we've got a president in Dana White that is literally the biggest Jon Jones dick rider in the entire universe and has always defended Jon Jones, and he's the number one pound for pound, greatest fighter of all time, blah, blah, blah. And so it's come to a point now where we're at a crossroads where the UFC fans are absolutely losing interest in this fight. It's taken so long that we are starting to not care. And Jon Jones is thinking it's a game. People genuinely are not. In my opinion, people want to see Jon Jones get stripped of his title more than they want to see the Tom Aspinall fight now. That's all we want to see. We want to see some sort of accountability. When it seems like everything in the UFC right now is crashing and burning, the promotion is terrible. Dana White is spending more of his time and energy promoting power slap and fucking boxing than he is the actual UFC. They're making fights that don't make sense. The promotion value, the actual quality of the product has declined. Pay-per-views are more expensive than they've ever been. So overall, like, MMA fans are just looking for some sort of accountability in the UFC right now because we're not seeing it at all. And you've got a guy like Jon Jones who has defended his title twice in the last 2 years and is holding up a division, and there's zero repercussions. Zero. His last fight against Stipe was November 2024. He took 0 damage. 0. And now we're halfway through the year, going into June, and we're lucky to see if we'll get a Jon Jones fight at all in 2025. But the gravity of this is like, I don't know if you guys really understand how crazy this is. This would be like 200,000 fans for like the Kansas City Chiefs to sign a petition to get, Patrick Mahomes taken out of the starting lineup or whatever, right? Like, this is crazy. This is 200,000 fans asking and pleading and begging the UFC to strip this fucking joker. Because you've got a guy like Tom Aspinall that wants to fight and is hungry to prove that he's the best. Then you have Jon Jones, who has always been a piece of shit. Truly. He tries to act like he's not, but everyone knows he's just a woman beater and can't let him free in Vegas without supervision or else he gets arrested, or like, he's just a piece of shit, and he's treating this whole situation very nonchalantly, which I think is making everyone a little bit more frustrated, is that it seems like he's not taking this seriously. And you can see there's quite a few people that are upset enough to come and sign a petition. So will this fall upon deaf ears? Will Dana White do a single fucking thing about it? If I was a betting man, I'd say absolutely not. Dana White's does not listen to the fan base. He could care less. But it's a step in the right direction. I think it's at least making noise. I think it's good that the MMA community is at least coming together on one issue, because I think we all know the MMA community can be very polarizing and we don't agree on a lot of things. But it seems like there's a lot of fucking people that are agreeing with this here. So it's good to see that the MMA community is at least banding together around this bullshit. So it'll be very interesting, and I'm sure that this weekend, if Dana White is actually present at the post-fight press conference, I'm sure that this is going to get brought up by one of the reporters. Will Dana White do his usual "that's a stupid fucking question" next and just deflect? Probably. But, will John Morgan bring this up? First question of the night. Hey, been seeing a petition circulating around Twitter. It's got 200,000 signatures asking you to strip Jon Jones. What are your thoughts? That would be fucking crazy. And I think that's like the best case scenario, is that one of these MMA reporters from MMA Junkie or like bring it up at the post-fight press conference and get some more eyeballs on it. So, not saying that the Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber post-fight press conference is going to have 1 million views, but it's a place that it can be brought up in a public setting and puts Dana White on the spot a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But moving on from the drama, we'll get into some cool fight announcements that were just made. First being Petr Yan versus Marcus Mcghee. A lot of people are not happy with this, and I understand where they're coming from, seeing that Marcus is ranked 13 and Yan is number 2. Like, that's a really big jump. We don't tend to see like up and coming prospects and contenders. We typically don't see this big of a jump. The last time we saw this big of a jump was actually when Petr Yan fought Sean O'Malley. Petr Yan was, I believe, either the number 1 or the number 2 ranked at the time, and O'Malley, I believe, was number 11. So that was, people were very unhappy with that one. I think Sean O'Malley was coming off of a win against like Paiva, maybe his knockout against Paiva, or maybe Chris Mutinez, the kid with green hair. So I think a lot of people were upset that Sean O'Malley got that fight made because people didn't think he deserved it, which I can see that 100%. I don't think this is the same situation though. Marcus Mcghee is on a really, really solid win streak. I want to say he's on a 5-fight streak. I want to say. Yeah. 4-fight streak in the UFC. Sorry. My apologies. And none of these guys are like super talented, but Gaston Bolaños is not bad. Jonathan Martinez, that's a good win. JP Buys, he's kind of a scrub. Journey Newsom, whatever. But, you know, he's on a 4-fight skid, or a 4-fight streak. And, you know, if you look at the bantamweight division, like, I don't know, like, this is a fun matchup. It's a fun matchup. And hot take, Petr Yan is, you know, I'm going to choose my words wisely here, but journeyman is probably not a good term yet. But in my opinion, that is where Petr Yan is heading. You know, he had his time with the belt, and I don't think he's going to be getting it back. I think he's still one of the most dangerous and skilled bantamweights in the division, but I think we have seen the best of what Petr Yan has to offer in the cage. So I would assume that Yan is going to kind of turn into this guy in the bantamweight division where you get guys like Marcus Mcghee, who are one of the more promising prospects in any division that we've got right now, especially the bantamweight division. And, you know, this is a big test for him. And on the flip side of the coin, can Yan still hang with the up-and-comers and the new guys that are going to be taking over the top 5 in the next 5 years, right? Like, a lot of these divisions that we see, lightweight, for example, bantamweight, right? There's featherweight. There's some older guys in that top 5, top 10 that are going to be retiring in the next few years. And guys like Marcus Mcghee are going to be the cats that are coming in and taking those rankings. So Petr Yan has a big test here, and it's really a, hey, do you still belong in the elite of the bantamweight division, or is an up-and-comer like Marcus Mcghee going to come and take your cookies? So I like this matchmaking a lot. I think a lot of people are looking at it negatively, but I think it's a great matchup. Mcghee is one of those guys that if anyone deserves a shot like this, it's him. So I'm excited about it. I think Mcghee is going to get it done. Mcghee is very, very talented, coming from I believe he trains at the MMA lab. And I think he cross-trains a little bit with Welch too, with Sugar Sean. But either way, like, very, very skilled. And he's going to be able to handle Yan in a lot of those places that Yan's good at, like the clinch. And, you know, Yan will get a lot of, like, foot sweeps off the clinch where he's throwing elbows, throwing knees. You get off balance, he'll foot sweep you and then end up on top. I don't think he's going to be able to do that very easily with Mcghee. I don't. But it's going to be, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a pretty violent fight. These two are going to definitely put the pace on each other. Mcghee does not like to be on his back foot, and Yan historically walks people down with that high Muay Thai guard. So I think we're going to see a lot of action in the middle of the octagon, but at some point we're going to see some sort of wrestling, I think, from Petr Yan. Super fun matchup. Off rip, this just got announced. I'm going to go Mcghee. I think he's going to be a little too physical for Yan. Marcus is a bigger 135er. So I think physicality-wise, he's going to have quite a bit of edge on Yan, but I think his skills are also very, very high, and he's going to be able to mitigate some of the areas that Petr Yan has success in normally. personally. So really fun matchup. Excited for this one to get added to I believe it's on the Dubai card. And then the next one that just got announced that's pretty notable is the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Gabrial Bonfim fight. This got added, I believe, to the Nashville, Bridgestone. So it got added to the Nashville card where Derek Lewis is headlining. Stephen Thompson is like 38, maybe even older. Holy shit! 40 fucking 2? Yeesh. So, this is another thing that the UFC likes to do. When you've got someone like Stephen Thompson, who he should have retired years ago, he's one of those guys that, even though he should have retired years ago, he's got enough skill still, and up until his last 2 fights, was not getting like knocked out, and it's like not like his chin was going anywhere. So the UFC and all the fans just continued to like act like everything was normal. But after that Joaquin Buckley fight, you know, at 42, when you get knocked out like that, that's tough. And he had a tough loss against Shavkat Rakhmonov. So this is gonna be 100% his last fight. I don't see Stephen Thompson fighting again after this. Even if he wins at 42, I don't think there's a clear path to the title for him. You know, you're fighting an unranked guy. It would be different if he was fighting someone, you know, ranked 8 or 6 in the welterweight division, but he's not. Like, he's fighting an unranked guy. They are basically feeding Wonderboy to Bonfim, who is a very promising, dangerous prospect, and they're just gonna feed Wonderboy to him. And it's probably not gonna be pretty. Look at the physique difference here. Bonfim is a monster at welterweight, and I believe he is in his early 30s, and he's a great grappler. And we've seen Stephen Wonderboy struggle with grapplers from time to time. He's got pretty, for a karate guy and a mainly a stand-up guy, he's got pretty good takedown defense. But Bonfim is a dog on the ground. So stylistically, very fun as far as like you have your karate striker and Stephen Thompson versus a grappler. But I think they're just feeding Thompson to Bonfim. Bonfim is going to be able to put pressure on him. It's hard to back Thompson up, but we saw Buckley do it. Like, Thompson got folded against the cage, right? It wasn't in the middle of the octagon. He got backed up. So even though Thompson has that really long karate point style, and he's able to keep you at distance for the most part with teep kicks and various other like side kicks to your knees, to your midsection, I think Bonfim is ultimately going to be able to close that distance, take him down, ground and pound, make it brutal, potentially sub him. Probably going to end up in a sub here, and then we're going to see Wonderboy hang the gloves up, which he should. He's 42. There's no reason for you to continue on this way. We would like to remember, you know, Wonderboy is putting on the really fun fights before he started getting CTE, trying to, you know, be a gatekeeper in the welterweight division. So I really hope that regardless of the outcome, even if he pulls out, I'm sure he's going to be a massive underdog in this fight. Even if he pulls out the upset, I highly doubt he's going to go for another fight. At least I hope not. He'll be probably 43 by that time. Definitely time to hang it up. So overall, it's going to be I think a fun matchup. It could end very quickly. I could see that happening. Bonfim is dangerous, powerful. He's got really, really good jiu-jitsu. He's got 13 of his 17 wins are by submission. So, you know, it's definitely going to be in the back of Stephen Thompson's mind that he's got to keep this fight on the feet. If it doesn't, he's going to end up in a world of trouble very, very quickly. So I really like the matchmaking on the Petr Yan, Marcus Mcghee, and Stephen Thompson and Gabrial Bonfim. I hope we continue to get more fun matchups like this to build out these summer cards. But I think the moral of the story is this weekend we're going to keep a close eye on whether or not someone brings this up at the post-fight press conference or at another time with Dana White. I'm sure we're going to be well north of 200,000 signatures by the end of the weekend. So let me know your thoughts below. Do you think that the UFC should strip Jon Jones? And who do you got in the Petr Yan versus Marcus Mcghee? It's going to be a great matchup. Might be a changing of the tides. We might see Petr Yan really start becoming that gatekeeper if he loses this fight. But overall, great way to end out the week. Thanks for stopping by. Catch you in the next one. Peace.